Why Russians claim that Alexander the Great of ancient Greece reached Siberia. He lived around 330 BC. He conquered the Persians. He, as you'll see later on, also went to the Taklamakan desert of China, where he lost a third of his warriors. He lost over 10,000 of them. He went there in order to meet an Atlantean who was supposed to land there with his spacecraft in order to give Alexander the Great a secret advanced technology weapon that looked like the lightning rod of Zeus. And a copy of it has been kept in one of the Tibetan monasteries in the Himalayas. His generals were said to have constructed a pillar at the end of China, which wrote that the King Alexander the Great, has reached to the end of this continent. So this is a copy of the weapon that was given to Alexander the Great. It looks like the lightning rod of Zeus, which was some kind of a very advanced, perhaps nuclear weapon. So the unknown and questionable part of Alexander the Great's campaign in the past is that he may have reached Siberia, and the evidence is there, they claim. Historically, we have to mention that al-Omari, the secretary of the Sultan of Egypt in the 14th century, reported that, quote, "In the land of Siberia, which is very cold, and snow covering everything, for 6 months, traders went as far as Yugorskaya, where few people lived. Behind Yugorskaya is the north, which continuously has darkness, where there is nothing except a large tower built by Iskandar, that is, Alexander the Great." Quintus Curtius Rufus, the Roman historian, orator, famous for his work, The History of Alexander the Great, said the following: "However, most of the year there is so much snow everywhere that there is no sign of birds or any other animals. Eternal darkness covers the sky day and night, and with great difficulty you can distinguish what is next to you. There was absolutely no human presence, and Alexander the Great's army suffered tremendous disasters from hunger, cold, excessive fatigue, and despair," is what Quintus Curtius Rufus wrote. It should be noted that in recent discoveries in these northern frozen regions, a bronze statue of Hercules was found, as well as Macedonian weapons and breastplates. The officers' breastplates and armor are made of gold, while the soldiers are made of silver. It's still believed that there are 3 tons of Alexander the Great's gold buried there somewhere. Now, concerning the bronze statue of Hercules, the specific written texts are a small sample among many documents. Studies on them showed that the information is authentic. From the legend of the shadows of the trees at noon, today scientists deduced the latitude and longitude that Alexander the Great and the scientific crew that accompanied him reached. A map of 1673. To the west of Lake Teleskoye is defined the road to the Katayev country, which met with the road of Alexander the Great. Professor Bernard Heuvelmans, Soviet scientist at the USA, Ivan T. Sanderson, Doctor of History and Philosophy, Boris Fedorovich, support the theory that the Gog and Magog imprisoned by Alexander the Great were Neanderthals. A lot of evidence was found about the place where Alexander the Great closed these Nephilim into pits and built pyramids on top of them, and they were in the area of Gog and Magog. Remnants of the Neanderthals and the abominable tribes, Gog and Magog, who lived in 6 cities, as Diodorus writes. The main city was a steep rock and was called Aorn, A-O-R-N. Hercules tried 3 times to conquer this city but failed. When the surrounding inhabitants suffered from Gog and Magog, they asked for Alexander's help. He accepted this challenge. What Hercules could not do, Alexander the Great did. He conquered by giving 30 pieces of silver to an old man with his 2 sons, and they showed him a hidden path, and thus Alexander the Great conquered the city on the Aorn rock. The map that the Russians show with documents that Alexander the Great was approaching the North Pole, the map shows with documents that he approached the North Pole. And a photo found in Siberia shows petroglyphs found in Russia showing camels, probably once the area was not as it is today, covered with snow and ice. The climate might have been different about 2,500 years ago. The question is why the Russians are proud of it and the Greeks hide it. The writings found in Egypt about Alexander the Great were taken by the Vatican and given to a group of scientists to study. He wrote unknowing things about Alexander the Great. Enthusiastic, the scientists said were to come to Greece to bring the translations. The church reacted as a foreign newspaper wrote. Mount Athos burned the ship Eleana that these scientists were on, supposedly. Why would they do that? This is according to Ancient Mysteries. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.